What's good with YouTube? This is your boy Rojo. This is the Rojo Room, man. Today, as you can tell by the title, what we're going to talk about is, up north, there's been a program in effect for many, many years. I don't know when it started. I'm not sure. I first started hearing about it personally right around 2000, late 90s. I'm sure it's been around a little longer. But it's a buy-in, it's like a buyback. You get in trouble, you get ostracized from a group. You're afforded in some situations the opportunity to buy your way back in. Now, the difference between a buyback, a buy-in, and a fine is that a fine is going to happen to somebody who never lost their good standings for whatever reason. There's certain situations that transpire, you fuck up a little bit, you get caught with something, you don't do your job correctly, you violate something major. There's a lot of options that happen. You could be put on frontline status, which means if there has to be a removal, or something of that nature, you're going to be the first one up to do it. There's fines. I don't know what the price range is on them. I've heard all the way up to like 5, 10,000, 1,000, etc. for certain types of behaviors. These are all going to vary by who's in charge, where they're at, whatever household you're in. They're going to be a little different, choosing on how the overall authority plans on making the, whatever is up to the dude in charge. However he wants to implement that program, some of them might not implement it, but that's what it's going to be based on. Now, as far as buying back in means you've been deemed all bad, your name's got put on a piece of paper, and you're targeted for, assault, and in some cases, Article 2, Section 5, which means an automatic death sentence. Now, I don't know the list of criteria because, like I said, so much stuff varies there's no organizational chart that determines the amount of fines, what you got to do to receive those type of fines. There's no set standard, minimum, maximum on anything like that. Now, in my situation, when, initially I was put on freeze, and then finally I was determined to be, no longer at good standings, I was afforded the opportunity to buy back. They told me for $10,000, I could regain my status. Now, do I agree with that opportunity being afforded? And I'd have to say no, okay? And I say that because, for one, right there you're showing you're prioritizing financial incentives over a nicely ran group that has rules and regulations with given consequences for a particular reason. You're showing that, it's kind of all about the dough. Now, fines are different, but there should be an established barrier for what you determine is finable, the amounts, minimums, maximums, etc. There should be a common understanding. But buying back in, man, you got to understand, when you buy back in, I've known some people who've done it, man, and I haven't been in that situation, but I feel like you'd always be looked at as less than, when it comes to the group as a whole. If you, you mess up, your name gets on a piece of paper, for some reason somebody decides, okay, well, he's still salvageable, let's let him back in, but let's make him pay 10 grand. It shows that rules are made to be broken, and also a certain level of favoritism, because, say somebody, whoever has the keys, whoever has the regiment, etc., you're their homeboy, for whatever reason, they like you more than just some random dude they don't even know. You may be afforded that opportunity to buy back in while the next man's his career is over, and he's on the B&L. So it leads to the potential for a lot of favoritism, and it also shows the wrong message that, yeah, we have these rules and you have to abide by them, but if you don't, hey, if you pay for them, that'll make it all right. Now that's from a group's perspective. Now, as the individual in question who's trying to buy back in, you got to understand, man, people are always going to look at you funny. You know what I mean? You're always going to be, oh, he's lucky he's even here. He paid his way in. And some people, that are in, let's call it management, you might end up in a different institution. They might be like, oh, this is that fool that bought his way back in, man. We should have been had him hit. And there's a chance you're going to be treated differently than everybody else, man. And that's just facts. And, as an individual thinking about buying back in, you always got to wonder in the back of your head, hey, man, what if I hustled up $10,000 or whatever and I buy my way back in? Are they really not going to hit me still? Am I not just going to give them $10,000 and still get hit as well? That's putting a lot of confidence in somebody's, level of righteousness, and their ability to, not be playing you. You might still end up life flighted. You know what I mean? So, I get it. There's fines, there's frontline status, there's written discipline, there's exercise type discipline, there's losing privileges, like you're not allowed to smoke yesca for fucking a year, you're not allowed to have frajos. There's all kinds of things that people impose on you, and like I said, it depends on who's got the keys, like who's running the show, and they'll all be different. But if it was me, and this is only speaking from my experience in analyzing the situation as a whole, you're either in or you're out, man. If you violate a rule to such an extent that you're deemed a liability, untrustworthy, etc., a coward, snitch, whatever the case might be, you shouldn't be afforded to have an opportunity to rejoin. You've already proved to the group as a whole and whatever that you're not willing to abide by the rules. And why would you change all of a sudden? And like I said, the favoritism thing really comes into play. Because say, for example, I got caught using substances when I know that's against the rules. Nobody knows me. I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm not from, a well-established, enormous, traditional Salinas East Market or East Side Sanjo or something like that, where I don't have a lot of people to go to bat for me necessarily and be like, oh, no, he's cool, man, give him another chance. I might be ostracized, whereas an individual with the same history, no prior mess-ups, gets caught using, and his big homie's in charge and be like, oh, we're going to let this slide. Because that happens a lot of times, man. People will get in trouble and it'll get swept under the rug, whereas the next individual who has an established rapport or doesn't have any allies, from his neighborhood or from prior institutions on his side, man, they're either going to get blasted, deemed, you name it, so, just to summarize, man, real quick, buying back in is suspicious, from both sides, the motives from both sides, it's suspicious, and, I don't like it. Oh, that scared the shit out of me. Fines, get it. Discipline, get it. Frontline, get it. I get it. There's a lot of rules. You know what I mean? And the punishments for each rules should be uniform. If I get caught doing this is the outcome. If he gets caught doing this is the outcome. There shouldn't be no wiggle room for anybody to misinterpret why somebody might have got this and somebody might not have. You know what I mean? Anyway, this is your boy Rojo. This is the Rojo Room, and I'm gone.